Want to know how to ruin a Star Wars fan's day in 5 words? Simple. The Star Wars Holiday Special. Here's everything you don't know about the Life Day celebration we'd all rather forget.
Oh, we are excited, aren't we?
As you're probably well aware, the original Star Wars was a surprise smash hit that captured the hearts and imaginations of audiences everywhere.
May the Force be with you.
George Lucas had always planned to make a series of films, and The Empire Strikes Back went into production in 1979 for a May 21, 1980 release date. Considering there would be a gap of several years between those first 2 movies, Lucas was convinced that a TV special could keep fans interested in the franchise until Empire came along. CBS had also told Lucas that a special could help sell more Star Wars toys, and even attract new fans to the original movie. In hindsight, it's strange to think that the American public could ever forget about Star Wars, or that there was anyone on planet Earth who hadn't already seen it. Nevertheless, it was crucial for Lucasfilm and 20th Century Fox to keep people's minds firmly on the galaxy far, far away. As Lucas himself later told Empire magazine, "When you are starting out, you try all kinds of things. Fox said, we can promote the film by doing the TV special, so I kind of got talked into doing the special." George Lucas is no doubt a genius, but he's also a legendary control freak.
I'm so sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Dad, I got your voucher.
Out!
So, at first, he had planned to be creatively involved with the holiday special. He even came up with the special's original premise, which revolved primarily around the Wookiees. Meanwhile, the rest of the writing staff included Bruce Vilanch, who went on to write jokes for the Academy Awards, and Pat Proft, a screenwriter who worked on Police Academy, The Naked Gun, and a number of other movies. The story, such as it is, has Chewbacca trying to get home to his family in time to celebrate the Wookiee holiday known as Life Day. Vilanch knew this was going to be a tough job, because he had to write for characters who can't actually speak, and he told Lucas as much during pre-production. As it turns out, Proft and fellow writer Lenny Rips had written for the mime comedy team Shields and Yarnell, so they did actually have some skill in writing for nonverbal characters. Regardless, Lucas had left the team by the time the special started filming, and his name isn't mentioned anywhere on the finished project. This was perhaps the first indication that things were about to go badly wrong.
I got a bad feeling about this.
In the 1970s, variety shows thrived on network television. Sonny and Cher, Carol Burnett, and Donnie and Marie all scored huge ratings back then, and so the holiday special was created in the same mold. In hindsight, though, this was a huge mistake. As Star Wars producer Gary Kurtz later told Vanity Fair, "We should have realized that there was no way that we could fit the characters into this kind of format. But boy, does the holiday special commit to its format." In addition to appearances from B. Arthur, Art Carney, Diane Carroll, and Harvey Korman, the special also features a musical number from Jefferson's Starship. As their guitarist Craig Chaquiso recalled decades later, "It was such a strange iteration of the original big-screen movie concept and your regular variety show Carol Burnett vibe. I was like tripping on it myself, man." Boba Fett has been a popular character since Empire Strikes Back. Believe it or not, though, he made his screen debut on the holiday special. Boba Fett appears in an animated segment that was created by the Canadian cartoon company Nelvana, who had previously produced the children's specials The Devil and Daniel Mouse and A Cosmic Christmas. The segment was directed by John Celestri, who told StarWars.com that Lucas wanted the segment to look like the work of acclaimed graphic artist Moebius. Celestri said, "So for Boba Fett specifically, we had Moebius designs along with a black and white home movie of the prototype Boba Fett armor to work from."
This time we'll get them all.
I see why they call you the best bounty hunter in the galaxy.
Just as the writers struggled to come up with engaging stories for the unintelligible Wookiees, Celestri had to create a compelling character that uses no facial expressions. Thus, his interpretation of Boba Fett is similar to Clint Eastwood in his iconic Western roles. Celestri remembered, "He had self-confidence and macho poses. Without this influence, it would have been too stiff." The holiday special has many crazy, weird, and downright nightmarish moments, and one of the most bizarre is Carrie Fisher's musical number at the end of the show. As Bruce Vilanch told Vanity Fair, the Star Wars cast, and especially Harrison Ford, was largely reluctant to do this special, yet Fisher was quite willing to come aboard as long as she could belt out a song. Vilanch recalled, "She was going through her Joni Mitchell period. She came into the office and played a couple of very lachrymose ballads on a piano. She was singing about heartbreak and all the Joni Mitchell things. She very much wanted to show this side of her talent, and there was general dismay because this was not what we wanted Princess Leia to be doing." While the Star Wars gang knew they were caught up in something pretty ridiculous in the holiday special, they sucked it up and got on with the job. Director Steve Binder has since said that they were a pleasure to work with, and to her credit, Carrie Fisher did have pretty good pipes. After the incredible success of Star Wars, anything related to the film sold like hotcakes, from toys to posters to bed sheets. So a Star Wars TV special hot on the heels of the movie should have been a ratings bonanza, right? Well, no.
Stir, whip, 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 stir. Stir, whip, whip, stir.
Not only was the holiday special a creative disaster, but it wasn't a big ratings winner either. While Star Wars had dominated the box office charts for most of 1977, the holiday special didn't even come in at number 1 in its time slot. The Star Wars holiday special has never aired on television since, but despite its abject failure, bootleg copies have circulated for years on VHS and DVD, and the internet has made it even easier to find. VCRs were expensive back in the day, but the versions that float online were clearly taped off TV, and some versions include all the commercials too. Thus, the special survived in the shadows of fandom. When celebrities go on talk shows, they often have to endure embarrassing clips from old movies and TV shows that are dug up for laughs. When Harrison Ford appeared on Late Night with Conan O'Brien in 2006, the host mentioned the holiday special, which clearly caught Ford off guard.
They made this Star Wars Christmas special, and the tape's been passed around for years.
Once the subject was brought up, Ford grew quiet and began squirming in his seat. Conan continued to tell the story of the special, pointing out something that anyone who's seen it will also be able to tell you, that none of the cast looks happy. Ford shook his head when asked if he remembered making the special, prompting Conan to suggest they play a clip of it. And Ford reacted, well, he reacted about as well as you'd expect.
What if I were to tell you that I had a little piece of tape right now?
The Star Wars holiday special clearly has a place in the history of the saga. Nevertheless, George Lucas famously hated the special and once spoke about it at a convention, saying, "If I had the time and a sledgehammer, I would track down every copy of that show and smash it." If the creator of the franchise isn't on board with keeping at least one copy of the special for posterity, it's clear there aren't going to be a ton of fans out there. Despite this, the holiday special did find a purpose in the hands of one of its stars. According to Carrie Fisher, she asked for a copy of the Star Wars holiday special from George Lucas, despite having hated it just as much as the director and the fans. In an interview with the New York Times, Fisher later claimed that she would use the holiday special as a means of getting people to leave her house after parties. Now, this could obviously have been little more than a joke. The thing about Carrie Fisher, though, is that you can never quite tell. Just as the Force will be with us always, so too will the holiday special. Fans have made their peace with the special in the years since it was broadcast, and surprisingly enough, so has George Lucas. As he told Mental Floss, "I'm sort of amused by it because it's so bizarre. It's definitely avant-garde television. It's definitely bad enough to be a classic." For his part, Anthony Daniels, who played C-3PO, is all for an official release. He told Empire magazine, "Most things are buried 6 feet under. The holiday special is buried 20 miles under. If Lucasfilm had deep down wit, they would go, okay, here's the special edition of the holiday special. Instead of making it a skeleton in the cupboard everyone's ashamed of, why not go, okay, we blew it this time. Why don't we see just how badly we blew it?" When Disney purchased the Star Wars franchise from George Lucas in 2012, fans had high hopes that they'd get to see an official release of the holiday special. After all, what did Disney have to lose by putting a digital copy on Disney+? They could skip all the steps and costs of distribution and simply make the infamous special available for the benefit of completionist fans and curious onlookers. And Disney followed through, but not in the way fans might have hoped. Instead of officially releasing a copy of the Star Wars holiday special, the House of Mouse dropped something entirely new. LEGO Star Wars Holiday Special hit the streaming platform in 2020, although despite its name being an allusion to the original special, they aren't the same thing. That said, they are narratively related to one another via one of the few elements to make it into canon, Life Day. Of course, while this LEGO Holiday Special revolves around the Life Day celebration, it's also animated via CGI and features other elements from the franchise, including many from the sequel trilogy. While it's not the holiday special hardcore fans have warned people about for decades, it's at least somewhat related. It's also well made and considered to be an excellent special. So while you won't find 1978's special on Disney Plus today, you can still dive into a different Star Wars holiday adventure, one that's arguably much better. Since the Star Wars Holiday Special has been largely forgotten by Lucasfilm and Disney over the years, few fans have watched the whole thing start to finish. Still, enough people have seen it to recognize an Easter egg when they see one. For everyone else, the brief reference in the first episode of the Disney Plus series Skeleton Crew would likely go by unnoticed, as it's about as deep cuts get. After the children return to their homes, Wim goes to Neil's house, where he sees his family gathered around a holo table watching a program. And as it happens, this hologram is more or less identical to one that first graced television screens in 1978.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
In the holiday special, there's a scene where Chewbacca's son Lumpy is watching the exact same holo. The characters and setting in the holo appear to be the same one shown in the special, though it looks as if the scene was either reshot or cleaned up with modern technology, making it a bit cleaner for its reimagining. Sadly, this is unlikely to be indicative of any kind of corporate reappraisal of the holiday special in the future. And for now, it seems that Star Wars' Black Sheep is destined to remain an unhappy footnote in the history of the franchise.